All right, we are back with the opinion poll.
Yes.
Table talk. Yes.
Who missed you?
Oh, I missed y'all too. You guys are my ladies, and you know this is where we dish it all out. on the table. So
We dish it out and we talk about each and every single thing.
So today we're going to be serious and we're going to be parents and kids at the same time.
yeah, but
Yes.
remember that idea where we were supposed to bring
A parent.
parents? We should
I'm
definitely.
very sure
do
there is a
that.
parent who is watching us.
I am.
You know, including my mother.
Her mother.
She's like, bring me and I talk about it.
But my father would also love to talk about this topic, but he talks a lot. We would not talk.
We should plan that, and on a serious note, we should do that.
Yeah, definitely. So.
Hopefully next Monday.
Yes. So,
Yeah, we'll do the second edition of this topic.
we shall do it with parents involved. Maybe we can do Vox Pops. We can have them on the Skype and then they view in their
Yes.
opinions because we need to know. Because the root cause is charity begins at home. Upbringing begins from home. So we need to know the parents' side as well before we can judge
Yes.
or know. Though today we're going to be in our own opinions what we think, but also parents will chip in and tell us what they think.
We're just going to
Definitely.
put ourselves, in the shoes of parents and imagine if we were parents, what we can do. So we're going to be telling you what we can do, not what parents actually do.
Yes. So
Okay.
today's opinion poll, the topic is: does the upbringing of a child affect their present or their future lives? So,
In what context?
yes, in one context, how they are brought up in their homes. Does it affect the way you raise your family, or does it affect how you
Your
act in
relationship?
society, how you treat others, how you will probably treat your nephews or your nieces, or when you grow up to have your own family, will it affect the way you will treat them just because of how you were treated or what you grew up seeing, even maybe too.
And how you treat yourself.
Yes.
True.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think from this topic, there's a lot we can talk about. The upbringing of children really depends on what we're going to be talking, what we base on. Let's say if we're basing on the fact of moral behavior.
Basing on every.
Yes, on everything.
Tackle.
Moral behavior, character,
Yes.
and then their response to ikinyabupfura, in other words. So if we're going to talk about how they have great morals, is it that the parents have a percentage or a role to play in the child's moral upbringing? If she becomes a child who doesn't want to listen, or a child who abuses others at school, who bullies others at school, who beats others at school. You know the children who are always beaten, like there's this niece of mine who would come and tell me, there's this boy who keeps beating me at school, you know? So that really gets to them because, I mean, there's this child who is always beating them up.
You never know, there is this, probably that child sees those things at home, sees probably, God forbid, sees his father beating his mom. So, and then he grows up believing that that's okay for a
it's
man to
normal,
hit a lady.
yeah.
But then there's also kids nowadays have phones, right?
Yeah,
they go on
can see
internet,
it.
they go on Facebook, they have Instagram, they go on Google.
But that is internet, but we are just going to focus on
Real
what
life
they get
and what
from
goes,
home.
yeah.
Right? Yes. So for me, I believe that it's a two-sided topic, and most of the times, like we get. I mean, we just put some things out there because it's what we were given. And as kids, you cannot just like go out there and you just speak to the kid, why are you like this and why are you like that, and even like that, because you never know what happens. A kid just gets what he or she receives. So sometimes this I'm going to be talking about this on on the bad side. So probably, okay, let's take an example of what you said of a man beating his wife in front of the kids, because it normally happens in families, you never know. So this can actually affect a kid in a negative way or a positive way, depending on how this kid is going to cope up with the situation. Sometimes you find that a kid is going to grow up thinking that it's normal to hit a woman, or it is normal for a woman to hit a man. Sometimes it happens. But then there's some kids who learn out of that situation, and they are rare. It's not a big percentage. They are rare. You learn from that situation and you're like, my mom maybe was hurt because my dad was a drunkard. He came home drunk and he always beat my mom and everything. So I'm going to work on myself and even my family not to be like how my dad was.
Yeah.
So it is a two-sided thing. Sometimes most of the times we get what we see from our homes, but how do you deal with it as a kid? Do you deal with it just the way you see it, or do you deal with it in a, you know, in a different way because you want to show some change.
Yeah, okay.
So there's also this thing, most parents are busy at work, right? So we can't, sometimes the habits that a child will pick up, it's not only from the parent, right? Also, the housemaids that we have at home. Some of them are very rude, or some of them really utter very
Bad
pervert words or very
you come
rude
back
words.
from home and your child is the one speaking such words.
Right?
And then you want,
you
oh
know,
God.
and then when the child goes to school, the blame is put on the parent, not knowing that the housemaid is the one who influences this child to speak the pervert words or to speak the rude words and abusing the rest of the kids. Because because they're abusing ikigoryi or true to her friend on the phone, the children really pick out. They will pick it and then they will abuse you, and then she will abuse even the teacher. You know it. There are some kids who just like they have no limit, they have no filter. So I think parents really need to play a very big role. So this is the idea I came with. Why can't parents have discussions with their children? You know, I feel like parents are too busy for us, like too busy for children. For some parents, okay. Some parents are too busy for their children because they're trying to get the money, the school fees. We get it, we really understand. But at least even an hour to have a conversation with your children and get to know how they're faring up, how they're, you know, there are some parents who will just wake up, they don't know how you are in the morning.
You just have to make sure that you get food.
Exactly, and yet there is more love that is needed to be shown on these children, you know. They need more love, they need more care, you know. So I think conversations between the children and the parents should be something that should happen more often, frequently, so that the parents get to know what the child is up to. If she sees a character that is, you know, you tell your child, this being rude is not nice, abusing is not nice. So I think it's all from home. And why it affects the future is that if these discussions or these conversations don't happen, then in the future this child is going to grow up being a very rude person, body shaming others or abusing others, you know, because they didn't really get the whole how can I call it, procedure of knowing how to learn. Things are learned, they just don't come like that.
Definitely, I agree with you. And there's this video I saw on Instagram. So it was there was this lady giving her testimony. So she was talking about generational hatred. So like she was talking about how she broke that generational hatred. So her grandma and her mother
had issues.
Yeah, first of all, it started with her great grandma and her grandma. Their relationship was never good. Then it went to her grandma and her mother. Their relationship was so poor. And then it went to her mother and herself. They had such a poor relationship, and so she grew up with that trauma that she grew up seeing her grandma, her great grandma. The relationship was so poor, so she also grew up with that, and so it also was turned into her from her mother. So one time she was frustrated and everything, and then her child was around 7 years old. She came, her mom was very frustrated, things were not going well, and then she tried to come to her mother. She's like, "Ma, can I give you a hug?" He's like, "No, chill, I'm having a moment. And no one seems to love me." And then the kid was like, "But mommy, I love you."
No.
And then it was like a game changer for her. So she was like, instead of dwelling on the past relationships of her mother and her great grandma and her grandma, she let her focus on building a stable and safe and worthwhile relationship with her child, so her child does not grow up having that trauma as well. So sometimes these traumatic events are surrounding us, and that is how you might grow up. Your parents, God forbid, are divorced, or they have a separation, or they just have these misunderstandings that you keep on seeing as you grow up. So like Josie said, you can choose to let it affect you. Sometimes it's actually not even the child's fault. They don't even know how to differentiate or make a difference. So sometimes it's just luck or proper mentorship. So you can choose to not let it affect you, or you can get help and it doesn't affect you, and you choose to be a better person, and you choose to influence your children in a better way, or the people around you, or it can affect you, and unfortunately you act the same way to your children or the people around you, and you grow up being rude when your parents used to see how rude they used to act to each other, and you grow up with just this anger in you, and you're just every time, and people judge you
not knowing
where it came from. So it's really sad. These conversations do need to take place. This is how communities need to be there for each other. Like having such conversations, especially right now, now that everyone is at home, people use this app called Clubhouse. Such conversations need to be done on such apps. There's this lady, Sherry Owase. I love how she uses her Instagram platform. She's always asking questions on Instagram. She calls them Mom Z conversations because her child is Zale. So she has such conversations. How does probably past traumas affect you in the future? Stuff like that. So such conversations. Yes, friendships. Exactly. How, when does it deem a toxic relationship in terms of friendship? So such conversations do help, because if I'm reading it, someone else is probably reading it, and hearing your opinions and later on having probably a factual sense of it all, it actually helps. And no matter how many people can be changed, even one person can make a difference. If I'm reading it, you too can change, another person can change. So it does really affect how someone is brought up or how they live in their future, but there are two ways they can be affected.
Exactly.
In a good way or a bad way.
Actually reminded me, I haven't done an Instagram live for some time now. After this show, we're doing it.
Only Gasaro can make it about her.
Yeah, you know,
Only.
I just want us to look at this thing in a different way. Okay, sometimes we find ourselves blaming our parents without even knowing why they treat us the way that they treat us.
Exactly, but to be commented
Exactly. You never know. It's how maybe they were brought up. They think it's the right way to raise their kids.
True.
You know, so sometimes...
And them, at least as we see examples.
Yeah.
Then they didn't have examples. It was them, there was no TV to watch from.
It's just from school. You're going to do the works from home, going to the market if you help your parents out.
You go and fetch there.
It was just like that.
Just see, a friend of mine said that some children are raised, but some are reared.
Oh yeah, that was so mean.
The one that
it was mean.
Children
Let me explain. Let me explain for you to really understand why that person was so rude. Because sometimes if I'm a parent, I'm giving my best to my kid, because I don't do it out of something spite, or I want to put all the jealousy on her and everything. I'm just doing it because I think it's the right thing to do. So because you have a different way that you were raised, doesn't mean that Tina has the different way that she was raised, and she thinks it's the right way to raise her kids.
So some people have deep wounds that they haven't healed from, so they feel like what they've been through is what everyone is going to be through.
So we understand that, but so that you can be selfless is for you to try and heal yourself, so that you don't.
It's not easy to heal.
That is what I'm saying.
When it comes from someone that gave birth to
yes, I'm also trying to say it's a possibility, Biba Hope. Ariko, also know that you have a child, and for you to be a better parent, instead of portraying that anger and anger issues on your child, try and better yourself for your child and for yourself as well.
There's this quote that I read that as a parent, when you think about giving birth, first heal yourself before your kid is going to get ready to heal from you, from having you as a mom or as a dad. So there's a way, or there's some reason as to why our parents do the things that we find not all that good, because they have a background, they have where they got it from. And sometimes we should also understand, and we should also like the other kid that you gave an example of, we should also sometimes try to provoke them and see if we can change it.
We can break a nerve, she did. It was her turning point.
I think it's just research. Recently, I saw Letitia. I think you guys know her, right? I saw her reading a book called Uburezi. She's a parent, she's a mother, right? But she's taking steps to actually read and know more about exactly how to read a book written Uburezi. It means that she has the urge to know how to treat her child, to know how to treat her babies, So I think it's also the thing of our parents sometimes should know us, should learn us, because not every child is going to be able to speak out.
Not all parents are going to be able to speak out the same way.
Yes. So we need to know our parents, learn them, and know that my dad, I can't speak to him. I know the best time to ask for ice cream is when he is, in a good mood. So you also know that you can't talk to me personally. You can't talk to me in a very rude way because they all cry.
I remember there's this time, I grew up with, I didn't grow up without my father, but there's this time in my life, like my father left for like 4 years. Uncle, he had gone to study, and he didn't come back. Like, you know, when you can come back for like a year, but he didn't come back at all. And it was in a time where, like,
you have a very wonderful dad.
Thank you.
It's beautiful.
So I would go to school, and then there was this time period in school where they had brought this campaign and every child had a laptop. And so
You didn't have one?
no, Chije, my dad was supposed to buy it for me, and he wasn't around. And then I felt so bad, and then I would tell my mom, then my mom would tell my dad. So when my dad came back, you know, there were these XO laptops, not even the real, but those laptops.
The green and white?
Yes.
Oh my God.
So when my father came back after 4 years, he came and he visited me at school, and then he brought for all the kids chocolates and everything, and then he's like, my darling, I'm not going to buy for you this XO laptop, I'm going to buy you a real laptop. So like it's the effort. He realizes that he lost.
I didn't because you spoke out.
Yes,
you know, you made
yes.
you realize.
Speak it out. Did you say
I talked to my mom.
She told her.
Oh, you told your mom you were sad.
Yes,
Okay.
and so like he realized that he was not there for a significant amount of time in my life, but he tried to make up for it. So that it's just a thing that we need to compliment each other. Anyway, let's first read some of the comments, the opinions on Instagram.
Yeah.
So this is on our Instagram story. The first person is Fidel771, says yup. I think he's answering the question if it does affect our present or future lives. And then link with Christian says, it affects everything. We are who we are because of the way we grew up. Yeah. And then Nari Tejo says, of course, what do they call it? Is agreeing with the opinion. And then Sam Eva 7 says, yes, it does in every way. Jikundiro K Bride says, no, it doesn't. K Laura 457 says, yes, it does, the bra. Okay, so thank you guys for your opinions, and
I'm going to
shout out
agree with
you
the other
guys.
guy who says we are everything that they show us, or they, you know, we are everything because of them.
Yeah.
Because
There's this saying that they say you give out what you already have inside of you. So if you
even when you don't know it, it just it's
comes.
just you. It just comes, you know. Because most people tell me I'm like my father because of the way he's so loving, trusts people and all that. He's such a darling dad. So most people tell me I'm like him,
you know,
right?
shout out.
He's probably watching. So, but also at a certain percentage, they also tell me that I'm like my mother because she used to be a journalist as well.
you know,
You have all the genes, you know. So I think it's just there's a very huge percentage that we follow up after our parents in one way or the other. You find yourself being like them because it's something that you can't stop. It's blood, you know. So I believe that in this topic, does our upbringing does it affect our present or future?
It really does.
It's 50-50.
100% actually.
It's 50-50. 50 it affects, 50 it doesn't. Do you know why it doesn't affect sometimes?
100%.
Do you know why it doesn't affect sometimes?
does.
Because some people choose to ignore.
Never.
Oh my God.
Let
people
me
choose to ignore.
tell you, when you're at a young age, you don't even have the capability of, you know, of filtering whatever that you get. So you get everything and then you filter it when you're all grown up. But then in that point or in that process
see?
of
You grow up.
yes, in
That's the 50.
in that process of you filtering everything out, you filter it because of what you have already got or what you already have in your process. So it has actually affected you, but you want to do the same thing or the opposite depending on what you already have.
Okay.
Are you getting it?
Yes, we're getting it. We really are. But you know, when you grow up, that's another 50.
Yeah, go.
So that's what I'm saying.
That's when you get to make the right choices and decisions.
So the 50 is you're growing up, you're lost, you don't know how to speak, you don't know how to say something for yourself, you don't know how to approach your parent. But when you get older, in your 25 age and above, you're able to speak, you're able to say.
16, 17, you can make your own choices.
Yeah, that's for others.
You can't.
You can.
You can. I'm joking. Anyway, you can.
And can we give appreciation, or can we appreciate the parents who do, their best, because
To show you that they love you and support you in everything
exactly.
you do,
And there are
right?
even some parents who really go an extra mile to to do what it really takes. If
Yes.
if he's really bad at something, he tries to change for the sake of the kid.
And then kids, we should also learn to appreciate our parents, because you went
Yes,
through
we
school because of
really
your parents.
do need to
the
appreciate.
people we are today, or the things or the knowledge or the English I'm speaking today.
Yes,
Trust me, if I hadn't going to the schools I went to,
I really
it
thank
would have
my
been
parents.
possible, right? If you hadn't gone to those schools, it would have been the Tina we see today. So learn to appreciate your parents. You are everything they have made you to
And we
be.
know we complain a lot that they don't understand our
Yeah.
generation and what we go through, the fact that we need to have boyfriends. But guys, we need to understand.
Sometimes I think also parents should really.
Hey, we were still appreciating first wait to
Ego.
attack them.
I'm not attacking them.
First wait.
It's just a thought. It's a
First
food for
wait,
thought.
first wait. So yeah, we complain that they don't understand our generation, but let's face it, it's just it is what it is.
Yeah.
The same
It
way
is what it is.
parents probably didn't understand their generation. We grow up and we evolve. The century that they grew up in is not the century that we're in, and
They
so
should
times
be able
change.
to learn.
The same way we are enticing them to adapt is the same way we should understand that
Yeah.
parents are parents, no matter what, in all spheres of the world. That's how all parents are.
You'll always be their baby.
Yes, they'll always be overprotective, especially fathers.
And can I give a quick message to some, to the people who are, hoping to start a family soon? I'm just saying,
you.
it's not.
It is what it is. Oh my God. Let's
Could you
talk.
please learn to or be ready to heal yourself before you cause your
Thank
kid
you.
pain, or before you make
That's
your
the best
kid.
message you've ever given in life.
Is it the best?
Here.
Okay, cool.
That was
Be able to heal first before you bring life, before you bring somebody on this earth.
Yes.
Because sometimes kids really, grow up and they start regretting why their moms or their dads gave birth to them. Because, it's really so much. You can never know what happens in the families. But please, as a parent, be able to
first heal
before you can
and then
just-
give life.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's
so
really true.
let's wind
And my
up.
last message. Parents should learn how to speak even sensitive things to their
And
children.
that should be another topic because I have so much
because
about it.
yes,
about it,
no,
no?
we didn't.
Did we? We
Sensitive
didn't.
things, like things that are real. When you should have a boyfriend,
did,
when you should have a girlfriend, because some children do it out of not knowing. So they need to open up and speak to them and tell them about deep things. We shouldn't get the knowledge from.
They expect us to have husbands, but
do you know why we talked about this topic? Remember when we said, should children get outside knowledge from somewhere else or from their homes? Then we talked about these things. Yeah, we talked about this topic.
This girl remained on the thing of we did the topic.
Because we did, I remember.
Yes, madam, remember.
So, thank you guys
Madam,
for
remember.
tuning in today's session of Opinion Polls. Send in your opinions
It was
on
just
our
our
Instagram
opinion.
story.
And please,
Don't
parents,
throw
don't hate us.
stones. It is how we think. And if we think dumb, forgive us.
Forgive
Our
us,
thoughts.
right? But it's just how we feel because we're also children to our
Yeah.
parents.
You know.
And some parents who think that we said some things that were really worth it, you can.
It's just
try
how
them
we feel
out.
and
Yeah.
we're voicing other not youthful thoughts.
Yes.
Yes.
We're
So,
just feeling on the perspective of children how we feel. You get on the
not even
perspective.
children only, but
And even
people in
parents.
our age
No,
group.
we can't.
We
We can't
spoke on
see
the part
things.
of parents,
We can't
didn't
see things on the perspective of parents because we're not parents yet to
No,
feel
but
what they
we
go
just
through.
gave our opinions.
You'll tell us soon.
Oh,
So anyway,
I can't wait. Nako, I don't even want because she will make this everyday topic.
she'll be our mommy. Guys,
can we end this?
stay tuned for more. This is still the Morning Cafe.